Tableplant podcast.
So hello and welcome everybody listening to the second episode of GDA podcast. My name is Jankuhn and I'm a third year student here at rnhem graphic design.
And my name is Joanna and I'm also a third year student here in Arnhem.
Today we will have a conversation with our two guests. Here we have Patricia, coordinator of graphic design Arnhem, and Joris Malta, second year design research teacher. Before we start, we will give a small list of facts of things that we found about you guys on the internet. And if there's anything you would like to add to this, then let us know afterwards.
Yeah, so we are going to start with Joris. You own a design studio named Catalog Tree, which is based in Arnhem and in Berlin. You studied at the Werkplaats Typografie. On the 22nd of October 2011, you and Daniel Gros won a Dutch Design Award for a documentary named Money and Speed. Is there something you would like to add to this?
Well, I don't have a studio in Berlin anymore, so that's something that changed. Although we still work together very closely with our partner there, Nina Bender, and I run the studio together with Daniel Gros. So we met at Werkplaats Typografie, and we've been working since then. We've been working together in this studio, and with Nina since 2011 or something like that. Yeah,
okay.
It's also already a long time. Yeah.
And then we move on to Patricia. You studied here at GDA. You worked as an AV director at the NCRV. In August 1995, you started your own studio, and now you work as coordinator for GDA for 1 year and 9 months.
True.
Nothing to add?
Yeah, I worked at NOB Design, and that's for broadcast as an audiovisual designer for 12 years or so. And after that, I started my own studio and worked as graphic designer till now. Or yeah, I do it also.
So you combine it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then we're going to start with a few just more general questions, which we would like to have answered by both of you. And the first question, it's a bit broad, but it's how did you end up here? So maybe right this moment, how come that you guys are in our podcast? How did that kind of go? And how did it maybe start? So you're teaching here.
How did you end up here in the department?
Okay.
And you want to go first? Yes,
Yeah,
you go first.
Well, it's Thomas because I studied with him, the formal head of the department, and he called me and he said, "I want you here as a coordinator." So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
short.
Yeah. No, I've been teaching here for quite some time. I was thinking about that recently, and I think that the first time I teach here was in 2003 or something like that. So it's a long time ago, but I didn't continuously teach here. I was also in different schools here in the Netherlands, but also in Europe and other places in the world. And the first teaching job I got here was interaction design, I think. It was not two separate departments back then, but just a graphic design department, which also had interaction design incorporated in it. And I taught an interaction design course in third year. And very, very quickly, I discovered that I didn't really like teaching interaction design. But a lot of my work is quite technical, and there's a lot of programming in it and everything. But I didn't really want to teach a technical course. So I kept the name interaction design for a few years, but it was actually more like a design methodology course or something like that. Much less technical, much more on a conceptual level. And and then at some point I left taught a little bit at the Design Academy, and then a few years ago I came back actually to do the graduation classes, and I did that for a few years. And then this year is the first time I'm actually teaching. It's the first time ever I'm teaching a second year class in design research. It's totally new for me. I've not done it before.
And how is your experience so far? Or can you already say something about?
Yeah, I really like it. I wonder if I'm doing the right job, right? Because I don't know. I've been so used to teaching third year students, which is different, and especially graduation students, which is even more different from that. And I don't know. I have to see. I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks so far. Mm-hmm. So I will talk to these guys, say what they, see what they think of my work so far. I don't know. I'm not overly confident about any of this.
Then we have a second question. How do you know each other?
Yeah,
then.
a long time ago. We were both students in this department. Yeah. And Patricia is actually 1 year my senior.
Yeah.
So I was in third year, you were in fourth?
Yeah, I think so.
And it was like an instant friendship, connection, or did it take time?
Yeah, I think you spent a lot with our class.
Yeah, I did.
In contact.
Yeah.
My class was very close. We saw each other like I think 15 years after. Every year we have a reunion in Eating Club. So I think we connect close and we adopt you, kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
I think our study trip to
exactly. We went to Prague on a study trip or something. Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah,
and it was. I think that studying in art school back then this was in the 90s, and it was a little bit different from how it is now, because I think it was much more like you could get kicked out of the department basically at every schouw, at every final review. There was the possibility that you just couldn't continue the study. So that's not like that anymore, right? There's always, we're much more, our students have much more rights and are much more demanding also, I think, of how we act as teachers and how the department and the school acts, etc. But back then, people just got kicked out, and my class, the class that I was in, was just basically kicked empty. It's really true. It's like I started off with I don't know 25, 30 people or something like that, and then in third year there was like 5 or something left.
Really?
I can't remember. And so it was a little bit lonely.
Oh, that's why.
That's why. But I remember I quite distinctly remember that the class that you were in was it was a warmer place, I think. Yeah. It was different.
Yeah, that's true, because in the beginning they said, look at each other, one of you gonna kick out of the...
Exactly, they were super tough. They were super tough.
Yeah, I think our first lesson with Thomas, he said, within 1 year, half of you will be gone.
Like look around now in the circle, and when you graduate, 45% will be out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's of course, but that's also still true. I mean, these classes get smaller, but the way that happens is different, I think, than back then. I think that's
So the next question is, what did you want to become when you were younger?
Graphic designer.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like the first thing you remember?
Yeah.
And how come? How did you get in contact with this?
A niece of mine, she was a graphic designer, and I was always thinking with my hands and my drawing skills and things like, I made everything, so I think that's a way of life or something, I don't know. Yeah, I know it's very young.
Yeah, I think I always wanted to go to art school. I didn't really know. I wanted to be an artist, I think, when I was younger, like really young, like primary school age, right? I wanted to be a painter or something like that. But and then I wanted to be a photographer. I guess I really liked it, to have a machine or something like that to work with, a camera. But then at some point I just discovered type. Like, how the hell did they make these typefaces or something like that? And that's when I was looking for graphic design departments, to study. Yeah. like when I was 15 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I never had any doubt about that. I always wanted to go to art school, like always.
But maybe that's also kind of why it worked out so well. You know, if you kind of know the path and
Yeah,
if
maybe.
you feel attracted to it.
Yeah, maybe that's the I don't know. I mean, I still think that there's a lot. We discovered something when we started the interaction design department. It was really difficult to get students, and one of the things that we noticed was that there's a certain specific set of skills that you might require to be an interaction designer or be a graphic designer or something like that, that you might not be aware of when you've never been in an art school or or places like that. So there's this knowledge about what the profession is that we're working in is also of course changing and evolving in your own experience, over the years when you're in a course. I think that what we think we understand of the profession is a lot different when you're outside of art school before you enter one of these programs and when you leave. So it might also have been a case of luck. I thought I knew what I wanted, but I had no idea what the profession was. But then in the end, it still came together.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fourth question is, what was your first job ever? So it can also be a student job or
A supermarket.
like that.
Anything. Yeah.
Oh, I worked in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a dishwasher.
I know where.
Yeah. In the youth hostel in Dordrecht. Yeah, that's my.
Why do I remember that?
Is that actually my first job? As a student, I think as a student that was my first job. I mean, I had summer jobs, other jobs in factories and stuff like that. But yeah, dishwasher.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I was really good at it. I was super fast.
Fast Joris.
It's good practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do the dishes.
Systematic. I had a systematic approach to I conceptualized the whole thing.
Okay.
That's,
Oh, my job. Well, the first job I get paid for was in a restaurant a Greek restaurant, and there was faces on the wall, like Greece faces, and I have to paint all the islands, the names of the islands on it.
Oh wow.
That was my first
That's
job.
pretty creative still.
Yeah, in blue with the Greek style things, and with the opening I get the drink, the Greek drink, Uso. I put it in the plants on the table. I think I was 16, but I didn't like it. Now afterwards, when I was studying here, I was working in Malta as a
In Arnhem.
no, in Eindhoven. I come from Eindhoven, and every weekend, I think I had a student OV, like weekends back to mom and dad. I worked there. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think we're gonna move on to the first set of questions that's also from people in the department. And we will start with the graphic design field, so a bit closer, and then we'll go eventually to more personal.
Yeah, we start with more
Questions.
general.
Mm-hmm.
And where do we end?
These are the ending.
ending questions.
We end at the ending questions.
Right.
Okay.
It's pretty
That's
systematic.
after being personal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Beyond personal.
Let's have it.
So introduce your graphic design practice.
All right. But you already did. So
Yeah,
I
but
have
maybe a bit more elaborate.
Okay, yeah. So I have a graphic design studio together with my partner Daniel Ros, and it's called Catalog Tree, and we studied at Werkplaats Typografie, which was especially back then mostly about print and book design, and so we always feel that we are book designers, book typographers by trade. But we have always had a very, very strong interest in technology and programming and things like that. So we incorporated that very early on in our practice and been working with that extensively. And we've specialized over the years in information design. We do a lot of data visualizations, cartography and things like that. And we have been incorporating that in our work as well. So recently, we've been working on many atlases and books about city planning and things like that. Another part of our practice is that we also work on our own self-initiated projects, which often involve super old printing techniques in combination with more modern technology. So we like to make woodcuts or do screen printing, things like that. And that's just a way of making self-initiated work is for us is a way to sort of expand the vocabulary that we use as a studio, sort of refresh our interests, let's say, and an important part of our practice. Yeah.
And now me. Well, when I worked here as a coordinator, I don't really have time for graphic design anymore. I still want to combine the two things, but like the last year, it was very busy here. So, but back then, in when I worked for broadcast, I did a lot for television, like leaders and station identities, like that.
And how did you kind of end up in television from graphic design? How did that kind of go? Back then we didn't. Yeah, we have to do the internship, but I didn't do it. I did an exchange program instead. I went to England for a couple of months, but the level there was very low, and I didn't learn a lot of graphic design there. So I didn't have the feeling that I had an internship. So after my study here, after getting the diploma, I went to Hilversum to do my internship for 3 months. Basically, I worked there as a freelance, and afterwards they hired me. So and I had also interest in photography and audiovisual. It was a course back then, like now, I think lens-based media, things like that. So.
And now you're not involved anymore in any of those?
Only short things, but not the big things anymore, like for television. No.
Who's your favorite artist / designer?
Well, it's a thing that there's so many artists and designers that I really like. I mean, that would be like a really long list of names, I suppose, if I start on that. But I must say that if we are in a bookshop or something like that, I always skip the graphic design art section. I'm not really interested in that so much. I'd like to, one of my favorite books is all about mathematical patterns, for instance. And I love the book. I love the design of it. I love the, all of the contents in it. I don't understand the math myself because I'm not really good at that, but I'm fascinated by it. And it gives me a lot of inspiration. But if I had to name people, I would probably name someone like Buckminster Fuller or something, as someone who has this systematic approach to design that I really like, and also sort of a playfulness and a joy of making that is clearly in there. There's this story about Buckminster Fuller. He was once at Black Mountain College to do which is the sort of the American assessor to what's the name, the Bauhaus, and he wanted to build one of his domes. He created these domes, the geodesic domes, with students there, and they got these strips of plastic, like really long strips of plastic, like meters long, and to build the dome with. And then when they arrived at that place, which was a very secluded, sort of isolated spot, they were too thin. And he knew already that it couldn't be, the dome couldn't be erected, but they did it anyway. They tried to do this, and it failed. And then in the end, there's this beautiful photograph of all these strips that are sort of lying flappily, on the ground. And there's a little pole standing in the center where there's, they got it at this high, like 50 centimeters high or something like that. And I really like that. I really admire that the attempt is almost as important as as succeeding or something like that. And I would name him. But then again, I could name 20 other people or something like that. It's a difficult question.
Could be another podcast.
Exactly.
Can you name one for me, because I can't remember names?
Well, you really like.
I like patterns and grids and
So you like
Things to-
Wim Grauwel? That's it.
well, I like him. I look at him back then. I think, but
David Carson.
yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, I don't know. But well, before art school, I look a lot to how does she call Marlene Dumas?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
from South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
I think Marlene Dumas.
Yeah, I think
Very
that's a
good
good
name.
answer.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. This is a quite specific question, but what's your favorite font?
It's another one of those, no?
Yeah. Or one that you really hate. Also
nice.
okay.
No, but that's crazy.
the way.
Like hating a font is just stupid. I think that there's no bad fonts. There's just
Correct.
yeah. But then if you I don't think I've ever seen that used in a proper way. But I think that there's no bad fonts, but there's only improper use or something like that. I think that you cannot really say that because the font is your design is bad because the font is bad or something like that. It's that you just misused it or something. But I don't know. We've been using Bradford lately in the studio. We really like it. Yeah.
Great.
But I also like Radim Besco's font, for instance. Like much more quirky and strange. You know, like and sometimes we do our own fonts also.
Great.
Yeah.
I used Lust Pure because that was a present. But it's a wave because I can remember that Helvetica we thought it was very bad, a bad font in the 90s to use.
It's always changing.
It's
Also.
changing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
Or
quite
dim.
normal to not have, or I think some people are very specific on having a favorite, and others are just like, it depends on the project or the time indeed. So.
And sometimes I made also my own font when I do a logo or style. Yeah.
Okay, we go to the next category, which is GDA, so Artes. What is your first memory from Artes?
Well, the admission,
Yeah.
How was that for you guys?
it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I come from the south of Holland, Eindhoven, and with a lot of stuff under my. I think I had Peter and Karel Martens and Peter Hilding, sitting and then showing my work. But it was fun. Yeah. It was also the only place where I did admission because I thought, well, Arnhem is good in graphic design and I want to go there. So.
And it worked out?
I said, hello, goodbye, see you later. Yeah, it worked out. So.
Right.
Yeah, and after that you have to have 1 day. I think we have 1 day to do
It's still
here.
the same, no? It's still the exact same.
Yeah, it's
the
still the
exact same.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there were students involved, but
I don't think so.
I don't
can't
think so.
remember. But yeah, that's my first memory too. Is the admission. Yeah.
yeah.
And I liked it. It was good. And I also applied to Utrecht, and I wasn't accepted there. So I was only accepted here, and I was really, really happy because I had no idea of what school I should go to or which one was particularly good or something. I just named two and then just went there, and then but then I really, really liked the atmosphere of this place. I can remember sitting in one of these. I don't know which one of the classrooms it was, but it was in the same hallway.
Yeah.
Like this is like 25 years ago or even longer ago, right? It was still the same rooms where graphic design, and I really remember that day sitting there together with all these other people with bags of all this shit that they had with them, all the same as you guys did. And I really I also really like that we have that tradition or something like that. You went through the same motions as we did. Getting in here in the
So
program.
we understand you completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, actually, this is a question that relates to this. What is the main difference between when you studied here and how it is nowadays?
I think a different curriculum.
Yeah, I think that back then we were I think that what was expected of us back then was that we would work in a bigger studio afterwards. So much more. So it was much more about the craft of graphic design, and I mean, critical thinking and experimentation and theory and everything were part of it, but not to such an extent as it is now. Especially theory was just sort of plain. I remember just plain art history. That was it. There was no sort of philosophy or media theory or things like that. We didn't have any of that. So it was much more focused towards being able to work in the studio or something like that afterwards. And there were quite a few people who started their own studios, and become also very successful at that and experimental and all of that. But I think now the program is much more open in what is expected of you and also what is expected of the outcome.
Yeah.
Whatever field you work in.
I remember that we were not allowed to work on a computer the first 2 years. That's why
I can't remember that.
Yeah, it's true, because Karel came back last year for summer school, and I was looking at him, and he had a how do you call it, a MacBook Pro, and he opened it and said, "Karel, you have a computer." We were not allowed to work on it. I can't remember. Sorry for that, he said. So yeah, it's more like craft. I think I don't know.
Was it more traditional graphic design?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember a typography class from Frits Meijers, for instance. He's a type designer. He's now a professor in type design in Leipzig, in Germany. And we had these A3 sheets, and everyone was sitting at a table, and you had a broad-nib pen, like an actual broad-nib pen with ink, right? So you dip it into the ink, and you had to do these vertical stripes on a piece of A3 paper with equal spacing and equal height, and sort of the entire sheet was filled, right? And if you finished it, you took the next one and you did that, right? So go again and again and again. And then you would go with your sheets to the teacher, right? And he was sitting at a table, and he took out a red pen, and he started making corrections, like these stripes are a little bit too close to each other, like that.
Yeah.
That
That
was.
doesn't happen anymore.
It's almost like primary school when you learn how to write.
Yeah.
You have to write the same letter over and over again.
Yeah, that's
And
that's
do
what
the
you did.
45 like this, like the 45 with the small, and then
And then you had to do, if it was a little bit more advanced, you had to do letter combinations, like you had to do the W and the O or something like that, and of course then the kerning, that it becomes a little bit more complex, so you had to do that, and it was schoolish, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I still like it though. I mean, I still like it. I remember those being like a Monday morning or something like that, and you get into school, and you're still in this sort of weekend mood and a little bit tired of whatever, of the party that you went to or whatever, and then you sort of sit down almost like a monk, and then start doing that without thinking, right? There's no critical thought or whatever, except for maybe this is bullshit, but other than that, there's no
there was a
I
sprint.
kind of like that.
There was a sprint last semester. Anka did it.
Oh yeah.
I also did.
Yeah.
It was quite nice in a way that you.
Yeah, I think it's good for you because you get
it's
to
like
know the forms instead of
meditation.
the vector things
Yeah,
in
but
the
also
computer.
because you kept doing, but it was also quite calming in a way to.
Yeah.
But not for every week or every day.
No.
I think.
Yeah, we did that like a whole semester or something like that, like crazy amount of time. But I think I like the meditative aspect of it, and also, he said once to me like, well, you always have to do this. Typography, you always have to do this in this way. If I make my grocery shopping list, I typeset it. I can't escape that. I can't turn that off or something like that in my head. And it's something that I did keep with me. Like you cannot turn off the graphic designer in your head or something like that when you do these things. I don't know how it is with you, but if I make a list, like a to-do list, I set a line and then I start doing that. And maybe it's because of Frits Meijers and his class.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So.
It's or you're not like that.
No, well, I was thinking actually the thing that maybe comes the closest, that in first year you have Jaap, and the first semester he makes you draw hands, every week. So you're just drawing hands, and at a certain moment, it becomes also kind of so like repetitive that you don't have to think about what is a hand anymore. So every time now I draw something, like a hand would be. It's like a constant reminder. Standing there with Jaap, super big.
And trying out new positions for your hand.
Yeah.
We have to draw every week in
Karel's class. We did
in Karel's class.
Yeah.
Every week, and you get angry when you didn't do that.
Yeah.
So you have to look at a piece of like the plant or the zoom, and then you have to draw it and show it. But I think it's good to do because you learn to look at things and how the proportions are.
Yeah.
This one is for Patricia. Do students make you tired sometimes being coordinator?
Tired? My children do, but
Students don't.
sorry, no.
Because of course, when anyone has a question, it's always ask Patricia.
Yeah, but I'm not getting tired because it's not at 10 o'clock in the evening. So no, I like it. That's what I like about the work, because I don't like Excel sheets or whatever, but I like the contact with the students, so no, they don't get me tired. Try harder.
This one's for both of you guys. What was your worst subject here at GDA?
What, that we have ourselves?
No, that you like had back in the days. Like, what was your
The worst thing that I ever had to do?
Yeah, or like a subject that you were really bad at.
Photography. Yeah.
And you wanted to become a photographer?
Exactly, yeah, it's funny. I thought I wanted that. I thought I wanted that, but we had a wet darkroom downstairs, so you had to develop your own films and do the prints yourself. I was awful at that, like really bad, and I hated photography. I still hate photography because of that. I just can't do it. It's like I remember that, you know, if you had to do an enlargement of a negative and you expose the photographic paper in this machine, then my pictures were always super bad, and then you try to get the contrast up a little bit or something like that, or I look too much at.
Less light, more light.
Yeah, less light. And you just sort of, you're moving with your hand like because I just hated it. I just hated it. Yeah. And no, I was never good at that. No.
Maybe one assignment of Peter. He said, "I give you a 4, so now you can fall on your mouth," or something like that.
That's what he said.
Kind of compliment of Peter. I don't know.
What was the assignment?
Yeah, I think it was a piece of a play, and I always needed deadlines to perform, and that one goes into the night. So I really get bad. It was a bad play, and I don't understand, but I didn't give him anything to look at. I think I don't know. I can't remember anymore. But I think that's the worst. Yeah.
Then we're moving on to the category personal. I will start with the upper one. This one is also directed to you, Patricia. Can you tell us more about the roses in your garden?
The roses in my garden? Yeah, I like the gardening. Yeah, I'm not good at it, but...
Do you have a big garden, or...?
Yeah, I have a big garden. Yeah.
Also like vegetables?
With vegetables
fruits.
and flowers, yeah. Little piece of grass and pears.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is for you both. Do you have pets? If yes, what are their names?
No pets.
Never had any?
Well, when I was little, a rabbit. And her name was Snuffy.
Of course. Yes.
She was white and had red eyes. So, yeah. That's the only pet I have. Yeah, well, my boyfriend had a cat, but it was his, so no. And you?
Yeah, I got. We have a cat named Lucifer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a bad cat. And we have a rabbit that roams free in the garden. I mean, it has a rabbit house, whatever, but it doesn't use that. It just dug its own hole somewhere in the back of the garden and just walks around freely. And its name is Haas. Yeah, and,
Interesting.
and then my oldest daughter, she just bought a tarantula. So we have that, and it's called Jupiter.
Oh, really?
Tarantula. Does she
That's
keeps
right.
it in her room, or?
Yeah, she keeps it in a room. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's in a little cage, like.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's free.
Patricia is not visiting anymore.
But I didn't know.
that.
I didn't know. These are really boring animals. They just sit in the corner.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that. Yeah. No, the rabbit is much more fun. Crazy.
Yeah, it's fun.
And the
But
rabbits and the cats, they don't fight, or?
Yeah, but it's the rabbit fighting the cat. Yeah, it's not the other way around. It's it growls also, the rabbit. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, it really does that.
Special one.
Yeah.
That's a very personal question.
Yeah, I know.
Answer.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Singing in the car? Is that a guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
Yeah, singing in the car. I like singing in the car also.
Very loud?
Yeah. Very, very loud. Yeah, and especially when I'm
Very
alone.
good also?
Yeah, super good. I mean, it's right on tune. Of course, with all the emotion also in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think that.
Yeah.
Specific music genre?
Oh yeah. No, we've been. I've been listening to Lenny Kravitz a lot in the car. Yeah, that really works. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Mr. Cab Driver?
Oh no, I didn't have no the what is it? Mama said.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite Dutch singer?
Dutch one.
Dutch.
He has to
Stringus.
say Dutch? Yeah, what to say? Or, but also in Dutch language, or?
Yes.
I have many, I don't know.
Do you
Any
listen-
vrienden,
Ah.
maybe?
Do you listen to a lot of Dutch music?
Yeah,
or?
sometimes. Yeah. Last week I listened to Boudewijn de Groot.
Ah, yeah.
But then I think I'm very old when I listen to that, because my parents did also. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Or Casper van Koten. Do you know him?
Yeah, but I don't like him.
You don't like him? I like the band behind him. Yeah. Willy Wartaal.
Ah.
Also a nice one.
But he's a rapper.
What is a movie everybody must see?
The Shining.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Yeah, it's why is really difficult. I mean, I think that it's such an intuitive film. I mean, if you watch it, it's just it's all about the atmosphere and the emotion, and you can sort of try to figure out what is going on in the script or the story of it. But I think that's it's all of that is super far-fetched. But no, I think it's such a beautiful production. I think it's just a really, really beautiful film. And then the creepiness of it is also I think is also really beautiful and beautifully executed in a way. I really like it. And there's a really beautiful making of documentary also that is I think is great, with Jack Nicholson constantly being in character, also off screen, being this super weird ex-murderer. It's really scary. He's really scary the whole time. And then everything is built as a stage. Nothing, almost nothing is real in the film. So these beautiful interior shots of the hotel and everything is a stage. I think it's just, for me, it's I don't know. It's like one of my favorite films anyway.
Have you ever visited the set or like the house?
No. I haven't.
I've been there. It's
Oh, you've been there, yeah?
Yes, it's very creepy. It's like you have to drive up the mountain for hours, and then you come to that kind of this like creepy hillside like lodge, and then you have the house and you enter, and it's such a strange experience.
Yeah, must be. Yeah.
Because you know the movie and you've seen it, and then you're just there. You want to get out right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It also counted for you, The Shining, or?
Yeah, I like The Shining, but it was not in my mind the first time. Yeah. What do I like? I like the piano.
Huh.
I saw that a lot of times. I like the atmosphere and also the story with talking about music and.
Yeah.
Do you also think you look different at things like movies because you work behind the scenes with television, or did you?
Yeah, back then but it's also about the special effects. You look different to that because you talk with colleagues and how do they make, and I don't like that when I do that. So I think
turn it off.
it's better to turn it off because then you look at the story and not especially how they make it because I don't really like that when I do that.
What was your most memorable holiday and where was it?
Yeah, well, I think I remember it's the New Year's Eve 1999-2000. I was with some friends in the Ardennes in Belgium, and because we thought, we're not going to be part of this madhouse stupid thing with the millennium, who cares? But then we got really anxious, and so what we did on the day on the last day of the year, and we thought, what's actually the biggest city in the neighborhood? And then we looked at the map and it was Paris, and then we thought, okay, let's rent a car. And so we got a car and we drove down to Paris as fast as we could over these super empty highways. There was just no one was there, which was already super special. Only one of us, I think, had a driver's license or maybe two. And so we were driving way over the speed limit to get there in time. And I remember we parked the car somewhere just outside of the city center. We jumped into a subway, and then got out at the Champs-Élysées. We walked up to the Arc de Triomphe. It was super crowded. And then it was 12 o'clock, and I remember this explosion. Time. Yeah, we made it in time. Like I don't know how many hours we drove, but that was a crazy. That was crazy. And then we slept in the Notre Dame.
Oh.
Yeah, we went in. Yeah, we went in. We had to stand in line, and then there was a guy standing outside. What are you here? What are you doing here? And we noticed that you had to say that you were there for prayer. So that's what we said. We said, we're here to pray. Oh, welcome. So we walked in, and there was a choir, and everything was really beautiful. And then we fell asleep in the back of the church. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, I think mine was a kind of escape from the Himalaya. Because we were walking like 10 days. It was a trip from Johnson to, I don't know, Pokhara or whatever, Pokhara to Johnson. The trek, and then we had 3 weeks, so it was 10 days walking, and at the end of the holiday we planned that, but we couldn't go back because there were no planes anymore. There were activists going on like that, and so we have to walk back, but I had to go to work on Monday or something, and I had to call my insurance, so I'm still in the Himalaya and I can't come back, so they arranged a helicopter, and every day we wait for the helicopter, but it didn't come, so we have to walk another village and again. I think 3 days more to walk. And then I was talking to an American, and in the sound back we hear the helicopter. And I said, sorry, I have to skip this conversation because my helicopter is coming. And he was like stoned or whatever. Yeah, right. So I was working with my husband, and we catch the helicopter and go back to Amsterdam. And in that evening we were in Amsterdam, so totally shocked and totally, I think that was a good holiday to remember.
This one is specifically for Joris. How many scarves do you own?
Oh, well, I'm two. I'm wearing two at the moment. I mean, I have more, but I'm only wearing two. So I have this one,
two
and
favorites.
then I have two favorites, and I have this longer Nakim scarf. Yeah, that I really like. Yeah.
What is your number one advice for the students to come on this year? What is one thing to do at Artes, or how to approach it?
I don't know. I think that's a difficult question, because I think it's really difficult to pinpoint what it is that we're actually teaching sometimes. So there's Yin Yin Wong. She's a designer from Amsterdam and also a publisher there. She has publication studio, and she was one of my first students. And I kept in contact with her over the years, because she has been freelancing for me, but then also she knows my wife, and and she was having dinner at our house at maybe a year ago or something, and she told me that once as a student I said to her that center type is a weak choice, and I can't, by the life of me, I can't remember that I ever said that. I can't remember the conversation or the context in which I said that. And if listening to that, I think that's really bad advice. To say to someone that center type is a weak choice. And then she said, yeah. And so every time I'm typesetting something and I'm thinking about maybe I should center this, she remembers that I said that, and then she does it anyway. And I really like that, and I think it shows you that I think that we as teachers should not overestimate or something, what it is that is most important about the things that we're saying or the conversations that we're having. But then also, I think it's for you as students, I think it's also important to see that critical thought is probably the most important thing that you can achieve anyway. Part of it, of course, is there's a skill set, and it's and there's also, I think, a direct transfer of knowledge sometimes. This works like that, but often it's just about critical thinking and about being able to voice your own opinions and work on your own voice as a designer, I think. But I'm not sure if that really sums up into an advice to you. But yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
just be with yourself, but use your teachers to talk with them and to learn from them. I think that's because sometimes you hear that I don't really want to ask my teacher now. I always say you have to, because they're there for you, and otherwise around. I think teachers also learn from students. That's what I like to work here, because I learn also from you. I also see new things and new energies and new, I think that's good to learn from each other.
Okay, and then the final question is, what can we expect from you in the future?
In general.
An apple pie.
Would be nice.
I don't know, maybe I'm going to buy a new scarf now.
Yeah, you have to. This one is a little
This one has shrunken considerably. It was way longer.
Yeah.
An apple pie and a scarf?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty great answers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was it.
Cool.
Thank you guys a lot for participating and having a very nice conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
And nice to get to know a bit more
Yeah, thanks a
about
lot.
you and personal information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Feel free to go your separate ways to your class and where you
Okay.
take the
Okay,
Cool.
thanks a lot, guys.
Great.
Thanks for listening.